The field itself is in the early stages still.
Oh, very.
The opportunity, we shared a statistic earlier today when you and I were chatting, the opportunity to see 1,000 times increase in capability is kind of difficult to wrap one's mind around. From a CEO perspective, you're in the chair. You have a business to operate and run day to day. When you think about the utilization of the technology for delivering outcomes, how are you considering that in the scope of your role as a senior leader?
Well, first of all, this thing, Moore's Law, that we've been relying on for a really long time when we thought of CPUs, has now, it's in a whole nother universe because we're able to do things outside of just CPUs to get these results, right? So we're trying to do a couple things. First of all, we're training like mad.
Okay. So when you say training, you're
training our teammates on Gen AI policy, Gen AI best practices, prompts, how do you prompt, et cetera. We're encouraging our teammates to use it, our Insight version of GPT in our environment. We are working on getting our enterprise data in a smaller language model so I can query and say, hey, what's the run rate on Microsoft Azure sales over blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
We're not there yet. We're using it in various use cases around like contract summarization, looking for non-standard terms. There's a lot of different use cases that and then we're saying, okay, this should result in an efficiency gain. So we're thinking about that when we compare our expenses versus benchmark level expenses in back office functions, for example, and then we're doling out budgets accordingly.
Very fair. Good. The change management, let's go quickly back to the change management element. So the role of the CEO in that leadership function is to push the organization a little bit further than it would normally execute on a day-to-day basis. How are you finding that action and the engagement with your leadership team and the next layer and the next layer?
So I would say there's a fair amount of enthusiasm, but I feel like the more I learn, the more I realize we're not going anywhere near fast enough.
Okay.
And so I think there's a real opportunity for us to step that up. And we're just trying to figure out different ways of doing that. Some companies have anointed a Gen AI officer, a chief Gen AI officer or something like that. And for us, it's especially critical because not only do we have our internal issues to work on, but we have a responsibility to bring these technologies to our customers and do it in an effective way. And unless we learn everything about this stuff, we're not going to be able to do that effectively.
I've had, well said, I've had the really good fortune, I'm very grateful for the opportunity of going around the world and engaging with not 5 or 10, but CEOs in the numbers of hundreds. Leadership matters in this moment. I've seen what you've been doing and being very deliberate about aligning your people in a new direction, about thinking of the current system of record and reshaping those, examining every process to look for efficiency. Sounds like something we've done in the past, but looking at it from a lens of how can generative AI, how can the data be reasoned over in the guise of the new perspective from which we can take insights. And then the third element is the way in which you're thinking strategically about how you are operationally driving efficiency, but also engaging your customers. I think that's super, super cool.